And now, the Pulitzer Prize and National Book Critics Circle Award winner, Jennifer Egan.
I've become more and more interested in what I think of as inadvertent storytelling, genres we use for practical purposes that have unintended narrative qualities. One of these is the to-do list. Now, I am an excessive maker of lists. In fact, as of this morning, I have 990 lists in the notes function on my iPhone, dating back to 2011. When I got the phone. Clearly, I don't delete my lists. And the reason is that the moment a list is obsolete, it leaves the utilitarian sphere and becomes an artifact. It was poignant for me to reread on my very oldest list for my son's 9th birthday party, 1 hour, 15 minutes bounce time, and recall the party venue we booked in Brooklyn where kids bounced on inflatable slides. That same son's most recent birthday was 21, and any bouncing that took place was likely not intentional. Lists are also revealing of the person who makes them. Think about how much you can learn from someone's grocery list. Are they a carnivore? Do they have a newborn? A sweet tooth? Do they buy organic? Etc. As my list of lists has grown, I occasionally scroll down and stumble on an old list that I've completely forgotten about. One of these was called Lessons Learned, and its purpose apparently was to list things I wanted to do differently in the future. Unfortunately, I forgot all about the list after a few entries, so the plan was unfulfilled. But in retrospect, Lessons Learned read as somewhat comic. Buy a narrower Christmas tree. Put up don't pick flowers sign as soon as bulbs come up. And my favorite, train ticket in bag night before always, in all caps. Each lesson suggested a mishap whose gist was clear from the lesson itself. I had forgotten all of those incidents. It struck me as a perfect example of inadvertent storytelling, and I wondered if there might be a way to somehow use it in fiction. Meanwhile, in the early days of Twitter, I was charmed by the elliptical quality of 140-character utterances, even a kind of unexpected poetry that resulted from their sheer brevity. As a tweeter, I had managed to do little more than get hacked and spew vitamin ads at my beleaguered followers, but I found myself asking myself whether Twitter might be a useful genre for fiction. Could a story be serialized 19th century fashion, tweet by tweet? And most importantly, what kind of story would naturally occur in such small structural units? The obvious answer was a story in the form of a list. So I began writing a story called Lessons Learned about a female spy in the Mediterranean who infiltrates a group of plotters against America and records each step in her mission by noting what she has learned from it. It begins, people rarely look the way you expect them to, even when you've seen pictures. And it contains lines like, it is technically impossible for a man to look better in a Speedo than in swim trunks. The New Yorker tweeted the story back in 2012 under the title Black Box, and more recently, with the help of my legendary Scribner editor, Nan Graham, I was able to turn it into a chapter in my most recent novel, The Candy House. I know how lucky I am to have the best publisher in America. I've tried some alternatives, and I hope to stay as long as you'll have me. Happy birthday, Simon & Schuster.